It is 8 o'clock, and this is the City of Merrill Redevelopment Authority meeting. We are in City Hall Council Chambers. Next item on the agenda is consider approving the minutes from the previous meeting, which was October 2nd and October 16th.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have public comment period. Any public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on to general agenda items for consideration. We have discuss and consider the September revenue and expense report.
Are there any questions on the September financial report?
I'll just comment that I like the fact that you've added that summary on the bottom of each one that shows the revenue and expenditures and the difference, so it's right there.
Great.
Any other comments? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I so move. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the September revenue and expense report. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is discuss 2025 proposed TID budgets. Emily?
So the budget starts on page 30 of the packet. And what I've got on page 31 is a summary. That's all of the tax increment districts, like a one-shot overview of each budget. And then the following pages are the individual TIDs broken down. In terms of projects, what we're proposing is TID 11. There is a landscape project. Rod, do you want to remind me of that one? It's a retaining wall.
Is that 6?
6.
Before you guys go into that, can I
Yeah.
ask a question on page 32?
Please.
You've got the salary splits on top, which I understand, but what is the second and the third chunks, that TID allocation and then the percentages?
So the salary split on the top, that's the percentages were split. And then that second chunk is the dollar amount. So each district is getting, so like the city attorney is 10%. So 10% of the city attorney is $13.40. Does that make sense?
Okay, and the ones down at the bottom?
That is the assistant engineer. We're splitting 2.5% to TID 5, 15% to TID 6, and those are corresponding dollar amounts of the
Okay.
salaries.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question. And I don't know that the city has done it this way before, so this is something new, and we can dig into this a little bit. So I think it makes some sense that, you know, some of Rod's time, some of my time, that is split amongst all of the districts because, you know, every month we're working on the financial reports, every month we're doing things for the districts. For the assistant engineer and the street superintendent and then the streets employees, I split them based on the projects that were going on in the districts, sort of. So not a standard allocation, it was by project,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
I think in the past, it's been done at the end of the year as far as like a journal entry.
Yeah.
So I think this way is better to lay it out and begin the year, and if we have to adjust it at the end, we can.
Yep.
And if you do have a chance to review these and there's any questions, feel free to get a hold of one of us.
Yes, please ask questions.
One question I have, I guess, is where does this leave us with allocating funds moving forward? I mean, because TIDs have money, and we borrow money to make money, but we have like the ending fund balance overall is, you know, in the whole 1.6 million.
Yeah.
If we have to make decisions on projects, I mean, how does that, How does it affect the city? You understand what
I
I'm saying?
do, yes, it's a fair question. So, and I think one of the things we're doing next week with the Joint Review Board is we're making some project plan amendments, and we're changing, we're making, we might have talked about this before, we're making 6 and 7 donor districts. Actually, 11 and 12 too. So it's 6, 7, 11, 12. We're making them donor districts so that they can help out 8 and 9. And when we look at the long-term picture of 8, that should be fine. There's some development coming. We know some things that are on the books that are coming through. We sort of have this long-term snapshot of the districts and how they're doing. So really, it's just 9 is really my only concerning one right now. So I think overall, we have plenty of time. 9 doesn't close until 2040. So there's time for that one to catch up. So even though they're negative right now, we're looking at the long-term sort of forecast for each district.
And which one is 9?
9 is Wisconsin River.
Along the river and then South Center.
Okay.
We did
Oh, okay.
2 projects there this last year, so I mean, you look at O'Day Street and South Center Avenue, we're, probably $700,000 plus on that, as
Okay.
far as TID 9 goes, so.
That's where the greenhouse, was that part of that?
Yes,
TID?
but I mean, the big 2 projects this year.
Right.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
So we've borrowed for those, we've spent for those projects, and now it's sort of recouping that money over time.
Right.
So Emily, these budgets that are in here, these are proposed for this coming year as far
Yes.
as the projects that the council and Rod and people have brought forward, but any new projects that should arise during the course of the year, you're saying that we would have the ability to look at them as we go based on converting these other districts to donor districts. Is that a fair statement?
That's a fair statement. We are converting the donor districts now because we foresee a need for them. Like as is right now with no other development, 8 and 9 are going to need a little help, 9 more than 8.
Okay.
And we have capacity to donate some funds from the other districts. So we're just setting things up. We're not going to actually donate until they need it.
Mhm.
Obviously, if the districts can have some development and are fine on their own, then that's great. We're just setting ourselves up so that if we need to, we can respond to that need.
Okay.
So Emily, with the new valuations or revaluations, you're not seeing anything earth-shaking coming up that all of a sudden we can't meet whatever expenses or?
That's exactly right. There's nothing earth-shattering.
Okay.
This is sort of why we're making those donor districts. So just because we're updating all of our forecasts and we're looking at all the districts and making some changes. Yeah.
LaDonna, no different than any other year. If opportunities pop up throughout the year, we would bring it here, and then it would be a budget amendment if we needed to do something, so.
Okay. And some of the valuations did change the impact of these currently, correct? Like TID 3, that drop in after the reevaluation. And
I
that's-
updated every single one based on all of the revenue projections. I updated based on the new equalized values.
Okay.
There's a RDA meeting next Tuesday where we'll be looking at the project plans, so we'll get that packet out today. So you'll actually have the project plan amendments today.
What are you projecting the mill rate to be, or do you exactly know what the mill rate's gonna be now?
I don't know yet. The county their budget meeting is next Tuesday. I have the school district, the tech college, and our proposed mill rate. So, and I used an estimate. I assumed a 2.5% increase for the county, just as a number, a placeholder. And I'm estimating the mill rate to be right around $19 per $1,000 of assessed value. But that's an estimate.
Sure.
Anything further on the proposed TID budgets?
TID 11, where you have the yellow spot for the airport hangar with nothing in it, does that, once we put something in there, will that change? I mean, I'm assuming that would change these numbers overall?
Well, kind of. TID 11 will have a revenue source because we'll be borrowing, and it'll have an expense, so it won't change the overall. Does that make sense? We'll have debt proceeds coming in to pay for the project, and then in the following years, we'll have increased debt service payments, so we'll be making payments on the borrowing for the project.
Okay.
I think more than anything, we just wanted you to be aware of this before next Tuesday night, so you kind of have a flavor for it. And like Emily said, the packets will be coming out.
Can you just give an overview for people who might listen in as to the projects that we have proposed in this budget? as far
TID
as-
6, we have a retaining wall next to the Cosmo. If you look at that alley coming between the bank and the Cosmo, the retaining wall on the west side of that alley has been for several years slowly tipping, and we want to get that fixed before something happens. I think that was
35,000.
35,000. We're going to do some of the removal work and then have one of the contractors pour a wall in there. North State Street from Grand Avenue up to 10th Street would be the TID 11 project. And then the
That one I have 980,000 in. for
And
that
then
one.
the airport hangar that we had approved at the budget meeting last week will be the other one with TID 11.
Anything else? So as we're gonna go through this more in detail on next Tuesday, then, is that, or is it more, if everybody wants to review it, and then if you have any questions?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It probably won't be this budget, but it'll be the amendments that we talked about more on Tuesday.
And if there are questions, if you've had time to review,
Correct.
I can jump into the budget too.
Okay.
I think next year we'll be much more proactive about getting the budgets out a little bit earlier. This was my first year doing this, and I had to build some of these spreadsheets, so I think next year will be a little bit easier, and can get things out earlier for you.
All right, we're gonna move on to date and time of the next meeting is Tuesday, November 12th at 6 PM. Regular December meeting would be Wednesday, December 4th at 8 AM. Next, for closed session, the RDA may convene into closed session per Wisconsin State Statute 19.85 sub 1 sub C for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business. Whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, to consider potential TID 7 development concept and negotiation of potential development incentives. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
I second that.
I have a motion and a second to go into closed session. Lori, can you call the roll?
Sure. Mayor Haas,
Aye.
Ms. Firminik,
Aye.
Mr. Kusero,
Aye.
Mr. Bars,
Aye.
Mr. Koblitz,
Aye.
Mr. Hartwig,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, we are in closed session. We'll just give a minute for the camera to be turned off.
Turn them